Okay. Dr. Jayadevan, this is a subject that you have been writing about. Take us through your observations at this paper, and also the fact that, we were talking about maybe the droplets being left out on some surface, a possible surface transmission happening through the nose and the throat itself. How should we now redefine the way we are looking at this virus transmission?
Yeah, the news is it's not new at all. The doctors have always known how this virus spreads. See, right now I'm sitting and talking, and as I speak, an invisible mist is being generated from my throat, and it is coming out into the room. And whoever walks into my room in about for the next 3 hours is going to breathe that in. And if I have the virus, this virus will ride in these droplets, and these droplets are so small they are almost like mist, so you can't see them. See, when you drive through mist, you can see it, but when you look at it close, you can't see it. Now that's the difference between large droplets and the aerosols. I know there's a lot of technical terminology here. I'm not going to go into the terminology, but basically people were under the impression long time ago that if you cough and you sneeze, you passed on the virus to the next person. And that's where this distance between people of at least a meter. Now that was not applicable at all. In fact, as early as a year ago, I had personally written about this, and I'll forward this to the editor. And basically what I said was exactly what I said now. This is not a disease that is spreading by coughing and sneezing. It is by talking and by breathing. When people with virus in their throats sit around with other people, they will naturally transmit this virus. And that particularly happens indoors. When you sit inside a room and you chat with people, whatever kind of room it is. It may be a seminar room, it may be a wedding hall, it may be a birthday party, it may be an office conference. But if you spend long enough in a room with other people, you're going to infect other people. And these are not raindrop like big droplets that fall on the ground. They stay in the air for several hours, and they travel far distances, long distances.
Right. Professor Shashi Kumar Ganeshan at the Center for Disease Studies there, what are your key observations on this paper? And also, Dr. Jayadevan said that how this essentially it makes it so much more high risk when you're indoors, but even outdoors, if people are collecting in tens of thousands of numbers standing right next to each other, so if it's airborne, then the risks are as high of this virus being transmitted.
Obviously. Yeah, good evening, and thank you for hosting, and good evening to all other panel members. So, as the other panel experts are saying, right, it is not an unknown one. Of course, the whatever the percentage and the rate at which it's spreading, those numbers are really frightening. But it is known, right? Even normal cough, right, produces around 3,000 of droplets, small droplets. If you sneeze, it will produce around 40,000 droplets. And if it is like a smaller droplets, aerosols, very tiny droplets, it will be in air for hours, right, for many hours. And doesn't matter whether you are just going after 1 hour or 15 minutes, definitely you are going to inhale. So when you inhale with virus, then definitely you are going to get, right? So that's why the only weapon we have at this moment against this invisible COVID enemy is the mask, and the appropriate mask and the COVID appropriate behavior. This is what I have been telling in the several interviews and several discussions, right? The droplet, of course, it's very, very even normal speech, as the expert mentioned, right? So even now, when you're talking normally, you are going to produce a lot of aerosols, because we are, while talking continuously, we are speaking, so we will be producing several thousands of air droplets. And if I'm asymptomatic, and also the one more important observation from this paper, right? So the spread from the asymptomatic are somewhere around 30 to 60%. That's even more worrying factor, right? So that's why the mask, whether you are having a symptom or not, wearing a mask should be in our DNA, and there is no other excuse for not wearing the mask.
Absolutely. And in fact, we are running some of these tweets. Kiran Mandral, the author, she tweeted to say that, she's very confused to what kind of masks should one wear. We saw a picture by Swara Bhaskar, the actor. She tweeted this photo where she's wearing a double layer of mask, but what seems to be a cotton mask. So in our homes, we are used to these kind of cotton masks. They're different. People are using designer masks. Artists are also trying to sell their art through these masks. You have a surgical mask as well. So let me get all your thoughts on what exactly is the right mask at this point in time. Professor Ganeshan, if I could start with you. How do you look at this question of mask? Is it time that we all need to be, layered up, double, triple, even inside our homes?
So if you look at this WHO recommendations, the WHO recommends in fact a 3-layer mask, right? Of course, if it is not 3-layer, at least 2 layers of mask should be, and also it depends on the area that you are visiting, right? If you are inside the house and if none of your members are going out, then it is okay, you don't need to wear. But at the same time, if you are going into the meetings and if you, especially the closed rooms, air-conditioned rooms, then absolutely like 3-layer mask is a must. And more importantly, people mistakenly wearing the mask with the vents and the exhalation, vents and other things, right? These are really, really dangerous things, right? With the vents, you are not going to filter any of things. There is no use of wearing the mask with vents. People should avoid the mask with vents, and people should at least 2-layer or if possible triple-layer mask, not to the chin, not only to the mouth, including the nose, mouth, and also fully covered. There should not be any gap between this, because if there is a gap, then automatically the aerosols will enter through the gap, and then without filtering it, you're going to inhale without realizing. So the wearing a mask is important. Even more important is wearing it properly.
Okay. Dr. Rajesh Chawla, your thoughts on what kind of masks are right at this point? I know many of us have been comfortable using what we call the 3-ply cotton masks.
Even if you wear a simple cloth mask, it prevents the spread to the others. It has a capability to spread to others, but it is not that capable to save you from others. So it is important if 2 people are interacting, both should be wearing masks. I protect you, you protect me. You must understand the N95 should, when there is a pandemic, there will be shortage of N95. So general public should not wear N95. Simple cloth mask is everyone is wearing. It has the capability that the infection from that individual, the droplets from that individual, they don't cross. But it has not the capability to 100% prevent the infection from others. So if I meet a person, he's not wearing, but I am wearing, I can get infected from him, but I'm protecting him. So it is important in any of the meetings, everywhere, everyone should be.
Okay, everyone should be masked up is of course goes without saying that is of course a basic requirement. Dr. Rajiv Jayadevan, take forward what Dr. Chawla was talking about. And also the question of N95, it's something that Professor Ganeshan actually raised it earlier, that you cannot wear the masks with the valves, because in that case the virus tends to be outside, it could infect the others. Show us what is perhaps the right kind of mask to use, especially when people are visiting hospitals for tests or going into crowded areas, Dr. Jayadevan.
Yeah, as Professor Ganesan said, it depends on the setting. See, it's like carrying an umbrella. All right, when there's only mild rain, you might just walk with a cap on your head. But if it is severe rain, you're going to carry the best umbrella in the house. All right, something like that. So if you fear there's a lot of virus in the air, for example, you're a nurse, you're walking into the ICU, or you're going to walk into you want to deliver medicines to patients in a COVID ward. Yeah, definitely there's going to be plenty of COVID-19 virus, SARS-CoV-2 virus in the air, and you got to wear the best mask that's possible, which is the N95 mask. But you're walking on the road, and there is plenty of air circulation, and there aren't that many people around you. It's perfectly okay to wear a cloth mask, because as Dr. Chawla said, your intention at that point is to prevent yourself from becoming a danger to other people. So if you wear a 2-layered or 3-layered cloth mask, that's good enough in terms of casual circumstances. But if you're entering a closed room full of people who are making noise, you know what? The best bet, don't enter that room, all right? Don't think about the mask. If people are making noise, people are having a party, your job is to stay away from that room. That's the
Yes,
best
it's
attitude. It's not about
it's
finding
no
the best
time
mask
at
to enter
all
the
to
room.
be celebrating and hosting a party, as that viral video said. But Dr. Rajesh Chawla, coming back to you, also in terms of the reuse of the masks. Say, for instance, if I have this surgical mask, how many times can this mask be reused? The cotton masks I know are washable; they are 3-ply masks. Give us some thoughts about how long should a mask be used, sir?
Surgical mask cannot be reused. It is the cloth mask which you can repeatedly wash at home and use it. It is as effective. But 3-ply mask, its efficacy doesn't last more than 12 hours. It is even said it is less than that. So you should not be reusing a surgical mask. But of course, you can reuse the cloth mask. Similarly, the N95 can also not be used repeatedly because there are charges and there are other things which get spoiled when you wash it. So that is why it is suggested that people at home should be using the cloth mask.
Okay. Professor Ganeshan, are you also worried the way people are disposing of masks? Most of our sanitation workers, our garbage pickers, the rat pickers, they unfortunately today have still not been vaccinated. That public messaging of vaccination for those above 45 in that section also has not reached out yet. So for them, it is an increased health hazard when people do not dispose of their worn masks in a responsible fashion.
This is the common sense, right? We don't need an expert to come and tell that, okay, we should not throw the mask that we have already used, because it's obvious that the virus might be there alive for several hours, right? It is the responsibility of each and every citizen to make the society safe. So if I'm using the mask, then obviously I should not expose the healthcare workers or the cleaners, whoever, right? So I should not expose them to this type of mask. I should dispose it in a proper manner. For example, you put it in a polythene bag or anything, right? If you don't have any other facility, just keep it in the polythene bag at least for a few hours and then dispose it properly. That is the responsibility and common sense for every citizen, right? We don't need an expert to tell this.
Okay. Dr. Jaydevan, any thoughts on this issue, on how to really reuse and recycle masks?
Yeah, masks basically fall into the category of biomedical waste, BMW, all right? And not the car, but the biomedical waste. Now, biomedical waste disposal is a big topic. Now, how to do it? It depends on your local arrangements, and it should definitely not be thrown on the roadside, as we unfortunately see often. If it's a cloth mask, obviously you can reuse it, you can wash it, dry it, and reuse it. But as Professor Ganesan said, for the N95 and for the surgical masks, they need to be disposed according to the local prevailing biomedical waste disposal facilities available. For example, in Kerala, the Indian Medical Association runs a very state-of-the-art image plan, which basically runs the entire biomedical waste in Kerala is disposed of in the most scientific manner possible. And that's one method to do it in Kerala. It depends on what's available in each region. Definitely,
right.
It should never be thrown around into garbage.
Do you have an N95 mask with you right now, Dr. Jaydevan, that you may just show our
yes, I
viewers?
do. I do. Okay, let me show you this. All right, this is the N95 mask. This is typically what doctors would wear when they treat patients when they are likely to be exposed to the SARS-CoV-2 virus. All right. Now, the mask has two surfaces. This is the inner surface, the outer surface. It's got two strands, particular one. So you would hold it only by the side. You don't touch here, or you don't touch the inside. So I'm gonna place this. I'm gonna keep it on my face. And this mask it basically covers the upper airway. You see, it has to bridge your nose, and it has to be airtight. If you see here, there is no air escape on either side. So, as we often say in the medical fraternity, we often say when we train healthcare workers, we say, you know what, it really doesn't matter what kind of mask it is, as long as air doesn't escape. The fit of the mask is most important. For instance, I have a large nose, so I need to have a mask which actually accommodates my nose. Some people have a smaller nose, so they can wear a mask which is smaller. So you need to figure out what masks fits your face best, and there's something called the fit test. You really have to do a fit test just to make sure that there's no air escape. Wearing a very expensive mask which is poorly fitted, it's like you build a large house and you forget to build a fence, but you put a very large gate in front of it. So the gate is very good, but there's no fence around it. So all the air will escape from the side and you will get the infection. So it's very important for everyone to know how to fit test their own mask, whatever mask they use.
Right. And I think importantly, people also need to forget that in the wedding design, really masks are not about style. They are not about wearing diamond and gold laced masks. It's about protecting yourself and your safety and safety of your loved ones. Professor Ganeshan, a final word from you at this point. I mean, when we are talking about masks and people's behavior, how worried are you right now about this current second wave? Do you see it peaking for several days now moving forward, or do you think it will start to decline now?
No, actually we do a lot of projections. If you look at our projections, we were estimating around 2 lakh active cases, and most likely by April 20th. And this situation will continue for at least for a month, which means that before end of May, I don't see any reason why the COVID number of active cases go down, which means the health system will be going to have a lot of pressure. So I think if we start doing now the good practice of COVID appropriate behavior, we might avoid the wave 3, right? We are talking about the wave 2. We are just late, I would say, and we have not learned any lesson from wave 1. So we have to at least now implement it and prevent wave 3.
Okay, and Dr. Rajesh Chawla, final word from you, sir. We have heard various health ministers of different states also talk about, the possible fear of black marketing of certain important drugs that are being used for COVID treatment. As a frontline worker, do you think this is a real problem, or this is just a way of trying to put the blame on each other?
Yeah, of course. Already the remdesivir is a problem. People are black marketing these drugs which are not proven of that efficacy. And we are going to face a lot of problems the way people are behaving. If
people's behavior becomes critical, and that is something that also can be influenced, I completely believe, by the political messaging at the top. But appreciate you joining us on People's Editor, Dr. Chawla, Dr. Jayadevan, as well as Professor Ganeshan, giving your insights on really the crucial question of what does airborne transmission mean and what kind of masks to wear. My final request to people, please, this mask, wear it properly, as Dr. Jayadevan also demonstrated. Make sure it completely covers your nose, your mouth. There's no use in this mask hanging from your chin or hanging beneath your nose. And this is a cotton 3-ply mask, but I am now going to use a proper N95 mask every time I step out of the house. And I think that there's going to be perhaps a larger number of people in areas that I go to. So be safe, take care, and be responsible, because we are living in a crisis situation where everybody needs to do whatever we can. That's all that we have time for here on People's Editor. Take care and please be safe.